It's been about 10 months, and we've had a lot of progress to report. So looking forward to doing that. Our team has grown by one. We service our parish 24 hours, 7 days a week, and we have a lot of projects on board, and we're extending ourselves in a lot of new ways. So despite our previous staff, we've added Lonnie. He's our new assistant supervisor for the animal shelter. He's sitting behind me, so he's our new addition. We still work in concert with the St. Charles Humane Society that we've worked with for over 2 decades, and they really help us to get our animals at this shelter completely medically healthy, prepared, and well adapted in order to go to new homes. We're extremely strict about disease control because I don't want any animal sent out with something contagious to spread to another house. So we work in concert with them. They channel all monies into the medical care, surgery, testing, and also provide me a surgery tech to use when I do surgery at the shelter. They maintain all of our surgery equipment, and they also pull from donations, fundraisers, and grants to help get this all accomplished. We have a relationship with PetSmart on veterans because they are a nonprofit 5013C. So they actually apply for us every year to keep cats there. And literally 80% of our cats in our parish are adopted out through this venue of PetSmart. So without that, we would have a much lower adoption rate than we do. And actually every Saturday, like you see this dog right here, the Humane Society takes animals to the PetSmart for us to adopt, and it's part of our cat contract that we have to be there on the weekend with the dogs. Every week in the newspaper, they also showcase an animal that we recommend as Pet of the Week. Statistics average of 2,700 calls a year. That's not much different than my last report. What we have added is we've increased our adoptions by 30% in the past 10 months. And we also have amped up the surgeries. We've listened to the residents, and we've heard a lot of people saying they bring in kittens, they care about kittens, and we're going back and finding where those cat parents are and spaying and neutering them. So those surgery rates are up literally 392% in the past 2 months. We assessed where we needed to be, and we're actively helping people get this done. And our euthanasia rate for animals that are not severely ill and they pass our behavioral testing, our euthanasia rate is 3%, which is super awesome. And what we want to provide a service to the St. Charles Parish, but mostly we provide that service to our homeless animals in the shelter. We are not a low-cost clinic for the public, but when people are on government assistance and they can't afford spay-neuter and they provide us with appropriate paperwork, we do reduced cost surgeries for them. What I did notice just in those 10 months is we get a lot of calls from middle class that are not on poverty line and they can't afford the surgery at their veterinarian. So we actually work with the Louisiana SPCA in New Orleans, and they just facilitate low-cost surgery by coming into our parish, picking up the animals, and bringing them back. And we've done that for 2 months, and we have no role in it. They literally just come, pick up, and deal with the clients themselves. And we did about 20 surgeries for January and February. And the whole point of that is to lower our intake into the shelter. And we offer microchips. We have a rabies vaccination day coming up April 2nd, and instead of a $20 microchip, it'll be $10. The goal is to identify these animals so we can get them home when we end up with them at the shelter. We work at the shelter until 4, but we're available all hours if you call the EOC. As soon as an animal is in the custody of a police officer, they dispatch an animal control officer. People love to catch possums, raccoons, and we even pick up those and relocate them. Not many parishes do that. And one piece to note, if your residents ask, is we do not chase loose animals at night. We have to have a deputy, have them in their custody. We take in all kinds of things, rabbits, baby bird, Pam just nursed back to health last week, volunteers making ice balls for the cats, and this husky went into a nursing home assisted living site in Homa the other week and is living at that facility, and it's going well. So our goal was really to bring our customers back, to bring our residents back. They weren't there. We weren't getting much traffic in the shelter. We were closed on Saturdays when people are typically available. So after I talked to you last, a couple months later, we opened on Saturdays. We have a staff member that opens the shelter, and literally on a Saturday, we have a lot of people visiting. We have over 65 volunteers that are already trained, so they can walk in our shelter, grab dogs, go running, take out cats, play with them. Socialization is a huge part. We have sometimes 160 cats to feed and 60 dogs on summer days, so they don't get enough attention, and then our volunteers help fill that gap. And our goal is to sustain them while they're at the shelter, try to find their parents. And when we don't find their parents, we can adopt them out after 7 days. We always scan on intake. We're looking for a microchip. And when we find an owner, a lot of times we're finding them via Facebook. We now promote them on there, but the owner has to bring some sort of proof of ownership. So someone can't just come adopt the $4,000 dog because they say it's theirs. And we have not had any issues. It's just been a great avenue for people to find their animals. And anyone can get a microchip. This particular dog had a microchip. He was adopted out to a service family when he lived in Albuquerque, ended up in New Orleans, ended up surrendered to his shelter. We found a chip, and this trainer actually flew in the next day to come pick him up, and so he got home right away. Simple injection to do a microchip. Remember, $10, April 2nd. $20 anytime at the shelter. Temperament testing. We want to feel comfortable integrating our animals back into society. We do not want to adopt out aggression or put anyone in harm's way. So we have some standardized tests that they go through, and Lonnie, along with another staff member, actually facilitate these tests. What's amazing to people, puppies, their socialization period starts to end at 14 weeks, so they need a lot of interaction. And by 12 weeks, you have to work really hard to make a cat nice. So when they're kittens, we work really hard to get them in foster homes and to interact with them as much as possible. And I don't adopt out anything that is medically unhealthy. Luckily, I had to pull this cat from Google because I haven't had any cats looking this bad lately. But that's herpes. We used to get it a lot. And then when they have leukemia, a virus, or immunodeficiency virus, these do not get adopted out. And our volunteers, we have learned what their strengths are, and we actually pull certain volunteers for certain animals. And this volunteer is great at socializing hissy, spitty kittens that would never make it in the shelter day to day, but she has them purring and looking like this in literally 2 weeks. One of our big stigmas was people were really sad to go in a shelter. And I train literally every volunteer myself on Wednesdays or Saturdays, and I want them to know you can help in some way without feeling guilty you left the animal behind. This is actually a friend's daughter, and they took Shadow, the pit bull, home. And he had a great 2 weeks, and she brought him back when she had to go out of town, and he got adopted that week. And so people just repeatedly do tell us, I realize it's not an awful place anymore. And this is literally a Saturday. Volunteers went, grabbed our dogs, and went for walks. Rescue Run Club was created by Rachel Malosson. She walked in one day and said, I have an idea. I want to do a run club. It got shot down before and at multiple places. And I said, you work out the details and we'll be here for you at 5:30 in the morning. So myself and another worker grew to love this club, and we look forward to Thursday mornings. And that was the day she pitched the idea. And some of our Run Club members right here. And the reality is we post it on Facebook, goes on an Eventbrite, and it's literally completely booked in about 5 minutes of opening. So awesome. We run about 17 dogs, all those that are deemed medically okay to go. We really hit home with the cats because last summer you heard me say sometimes we had 160 cats, which is fairly insane for a population of 52,000. So now, no more do you just walk in with a cat. We say, where's your mama and your daddy? And your daddy, not just the mama. When they're spayed and neutered under our free program that the Humane Society helps us to facilitate, you'll see a section of the ear that I cut off, and it tells you from a distance that cat is fixed. You actually wouldn't believe how many streets we have in our parish that have cats that the whole neighborhood likes, and we find this out because we literally walk door to door, and they're just breeding machines. And so we're trying to shut that down. We've closed 20 streets with cats on it in 1.5 months by actively approaching it. So I can't wait to give you an update this summer. We were doing, this shows, I love this saying when I go to meetings, sometimes they say free isn't cheap enough, and it's true, people are busy. So even though it's a free program, they still have to trap the cat, bring it in. So we were averaging with our free program 5 to 15 cats a month. Now we're averaging 55 a month, and in 1 week, they literally had me do 55 in 1 week. So we've really amped it up, and the point is to lower the intake, lower the amount we spend on food, lower the amount that staff is having to clean animals. The ARC, I mentioned before, they're still participating with us every Thursday. It's typically a group of 10 of special needs, and we go up front and interact with them for about 1.5 hours with the animals. Dog parks, I talked about that before. It's still a solid goal. And one way we started to facilitate donations is through birthday parties. We heard people want venues for parties. And our volunteer right here, she actually paid for the first party, and that's her group. And it's pretty awesome. We have done 2, and we have more booked in the future. And the biggest awesome part of this is out of all these children, only typically the birthday girl has been to the shelter. So it's a way to educate the children, because if we don't educate them by the age of 10, our impact is going to be minimal. Give a Lick, we started that on Saturdays. I'm there to facilitate activities for families, animal interaction, and for our volunteers that work and can't make Wednesday trainings at 10:15. I also train volunteers on this day. Aim for once a month. Oh yeah, that's a munchkin cat. He has little short legs and a pretty cool rabbit. Reading buddies. So we started a reading buddy program to help facilitate literacy. We have mats and books, and the kids know to just come get it and come sit in front of the kennels. And this dog was exceptionally shy and in the corner, and this little girl actually read and then fell asleep with that little puppy. Happy Tales, you'll see on Facebook. When we get animals adopted, we post updates. This one came in looking like this. New Orleans resident Facebooked me. I think that's my dog I've lost for a year. So I literally went in at 5 a.m. one morning to start shaving it because I couldn't tell if it was her dog, and it wasn't. But this is it now, and someone's adopting it. Fosters really change the lives of animals. Last time you saw that little munchkin squirrel that we can't tell really if that's even a canine, but squirrel grew up, a very big squirrel now. So squirrel got adopted. Nuisance wildlife, we haven't really hit that super warm season, but once again, wildlife and fisheries is who we contact. For nuisance gators, we get a claim number, and they call out Kenny, who is appointed to gator nuisance control. Coyotes, my best resolution for coyotes is now a Christ donkey. They seem to be the method of best control, besides pick up your garbage, pick up your fruit from your trees, and keep your animals in. Coyotes go for easy meals. But these, if you've ever driven through Ama, there are actually 2 of them in the field. So I have a new appreciation for Christ donkeys. I actually posted this picture with information on Facebook, and people asked if he was up for adoption because they needed a donkey. So we're here for you. We do a lot of education with the public. This is a Santa Claus event that Mr. Cochran was at. It was hosted by the Humane Society, and we have a lot of changes that have occurred. you have any questions, any comments?
It appears if there's no question or comments for Dr. Gina, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.